Hey gang, what's going on? Hope you all are having a great day. Playoffs are set. Everything is set. Everything's a lock. We have all the teams that we are that will be playing in the playoffs, and it's going to be an exciting one. So, before I get into that, I just want to thank everyone who has subscribed. We are on the road to 600 subs. It's greatly appreciated. Very helpful for the channel. Gives me great support, and I can't thank you guys enough for who have subscribed. You guys really make the difference. So thank you all to who have subscribed. So in this video, I'm going to go over the bracket, and then I'm going to give you my predictions. Excuse me, for the playoffs. We have some new teams in the playoffs. Some teams haven't been in the postseason for a bit. Everything came down to the wire, and you know what? It's going to be a very exciting postseason. So for the American League, coming out of the East, we have the Yankees. Our Yankees as the number 1 seed in the American League. Right behind them would be the number 2 Cleveland Guardians. They are the number 2 seed behind the Yankees. Coming in at the number 3 seed, we've got the Houston Astros, the winners of the West. So they took the West Division, while Cleveland took the Central. Yankees took the East. For the first wild card, we have the number 4 ranked Baltimore Orioles. They finished at the top of the wild card standings and got the first wild card slot. The 5th and 6th seeds were back and forth for quite some time between Detroit and Kansas City. Ultimately, the Kansas City Royals got the number 5 seed and got the second wild card at the end of the season. And going in at the final wild card spot, was the number 6 Detroit Tigers. They ended up surpassing Minnesota and ended up taking the 3rd wild card spot. Minnesota had what looked like to be a good chance, but ultimately, at the end of the day, they failed, they fell off, and they lost it. So the American League is consisted of the AL East champs for the 21st time, the New York Yankees, the Cleveland Guardians out of the Central, the Houston Astros out of the West, and the wild cards would be the Baltimore Orioles out of the East, and then the Royals and Tigers out of the Central in the 2nd and 3rd wild cards. In the National League, we had a battle to the end, and it came down to a doubleheader today between the Mets and the Braves. It was quite an interesting race because the Diamondbacks were also in it, and the thing that the Diamondbacks needed was a sweep of the doubleheader from one of the teams, and they would have been in because the season series, the Braves and Mets both won their season series against Arizona. So Arizona needed a sweep from one of those teams, which did not happen today. Ultimately, the Braves and Mets split, so both the Braves and the Mets got in. So coming in at number 1 out of the West would be the Los Angeles Dodgers. Coming in at number 2 out of the National League East would be the Philadelphia Phillies. And coming in at number 3 in the National League Central would be the Milwaukee Brewers. Coming in at the first wild card spot, who would be ranked at number 4 for this postseason, would be the San Diego Padres. Coming in at number 5 would be the Atlanta Braves. The reason why the Braves got the number 5 seed, is because they won their season series over the Mets. So the Braves get the number 5 seed and the 2nd wild card. Coming in at number 6, well, that would be the New York Mets. They come in out of the East. So the National League is the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Brewers, the Padres, the Braves, and the Mets. So that's the bracket as of now. That's all going to change after the wild card series. But the matchups are very good matchups. We have in the American League, the number 6 Detroit Tigers facing off against the number 3 Houston Astros. And then we've got the number 5 Kansas City Royals going up against the number 4 Baltimore Orioles. In the wild card for the National League, we have the number 6 New York Mets going up against the number 3 Milwaukee Brewers, and the number 4 San Diego Padres squaring off against the number 5 Atlanta Braves. Now, I'm going to give you my prediction for the whole postseason, and I will tell you how many games it goes. So, let's start off with the National League. In the National League, I've got the number 6 Mets upsetting the number 3 Brewers in 3 games, winning that series 2-1. Then they will move on to the NLDS to face the number 2 Philadelphia Phillies. Coming in to the matchup between the number 4 Padres and number 5 Atlanta Braves. I've got the San Diego Padres beating the Braves 2-0 in the wild card series to go on to face the number 1 seed, the Los Angeles Dodgers. In the NLDS, I've got the number 2 Philadelphia Phillies beating the number 6 New York Mets 3-1. As much as I would like to see the Mets move on, I think the Phillies have a very strong team, and I think they are a much better team overall. I would love to see the Mets move on. It would be great to see them do well in the playoffs. Unfortunately, I think the Phillies will outlast them. Coming in at the Dodgers-Padres matchup, I think the Dodgers are going to get some revenge on the Padres and will knock them out in 5 games. So the number 1 Padres will knock the number 4 Padres out of the playoffs in 5 games, winning that series 3-2. I do see a Phillies, Dodgers, and LCS. I do have the Phillies-Mets series going 4 games. And then in the matchup between number 1 LA and the number 2 Philadelphia Phillies, I've got the Dodgers winning in 7 games. I think they're evenly matched teams, and I think both teams will slug their way to a 7-game set, with the Dodgers winning 4-3 and moving on to the Fall Classic. In the American League, I've got the number 6 Detroit Tigers beating and upsetting the number 3 Houston Astros 2-1. And moving on to face the number 2 Cleveland Guardians. In the other wild card matchup, I've got the number 5 Kansas City Royals beating the number 4 Baltimore Orioles 2-1 as well. So both wild card series will go 3 games. I firmly believe this because the Royals always give the Orioles problems. They are a very problematic team, the Royals. They are a very strong team. They are a very good team. So don't take them lightly and be very wary of that team. They are a very strong team. Going into the ALDS, we have the number 6 Tigers facing off against the number 2 Guardians, and the number 5 Royals going up against the number 1 Yankees. Now remember, the postseason goes through LA and New York. So it's going to be a lot tougher for teams in this postseason. I've got the Tigers beating the Guardians and upsetting the Guardians in 5 games, winning 3-2, moving on to the ALCS. And then I've got the number 1 Yankees taking out the number 5 Kansas City Royals 3-2. The Yankees have looked good all year. Yes, they've had their struggles, but they are still a very formidable club, and they are a very formidable team. And with the hitting of Soto and Stanton and Judge and Torres, they are who's been tearing it up of late. I have a feeling the Yankees are going to take that series 3-2. Moving on to the American League Championship Series. We have the number 6 Detroit Tigers going up against the number 1 New York Yankees. I've got the Yankees getting a little bit of revenge on the Tigers, winning that series 4-1, and I have them moving on to the World Series. So it's going to be a battle of number 1s. It'll be the number 1 New York Yankees versus the number 1 LA Dodgers. Now, when it comes to the World Series, that will also be played in New York. If the Yankees get there, which we all hope they do. So I have the Yankees winning that series in 7 games, and I've got them taking out the Dodgers and winning their 28th championship. So the Yankees will win number 28 this year, and it will be against the Dodgers. You guys let me know what you think of the bracket, what your predictions are, what you guys think is going to happen. It's going to be a very exciting postseason. Stay tuned for it, and it should be a good roller coaster ride. Until next time, guys, leave your comments in the comment section below, and I will talk to you guys later. Talk to you soon.